Woo! What's going on, guys? Orms Forum coming at you guys today again. I'm going to continue with my little series that I've been got going on with my player grades. And what better way to start off this segment with the GOAT, Barry Sanders, best ever. Best I ever saw play. Watching that guy run sometimes at the Silverdome was probably one of the most exhilarating sports feelings I've ever had in my life. I'm not even just talking about football. Just watching that man run with the football was amazing. The whole place, the whole Silverdome would literally gasp air. And you would actually hear it. You would hear people literally gasping for air because you didn't know what he was going to do with the ball. It was just awesome. But to bigger things here, guys, I'm going to do the player grades for the running backs. I'm going to do Deandre Swift today. I'm going to do Adrian Peterson, Carrion Johnson. And I threw in Jason Kabinda. It was a little bit tough to do, but I threw him in there. We did have Jonathan Williams, who had a couple carries for us, caught a few balls too as well, but he got released on the team. Didn't get enough looks at all. So I only put 4 guys out there. But I'm going to start it off, guys. I'm going to start off with Kabinda. Okay, 6'1", 235 pounds. Out of Penn State, 24 years old. Undrafted free agent by the Oakland Raiders back in 2018 as a linebacker. So this is a guy that actually played linebacker for his first 2 years in the NFL. Didn't really do much. He didn't really do much as a linebacker. Nothing at all really to write home about as a Raider. Even at Penn State, he was more of like that rush linebacker. I think he ended up with like 7 or 8 sacks total in his career at Penn State. So he was an athletic guy, smart, real smart, and kind of makes you wonder why he never really stuck as a linebacker for the Lions. But you know what I mean? Because our linebacking crew is just so horrid. It just kind of makes you wonder why he never stuck, because he's very athletic. So, but he is what he is, man. The Lions converted him to a fullback. So he's got the smarts, he's got the smarts, played linebacker, converted over to fullback. In 2020, when we picked him up, we had him last year on the team too as well. He only played 1 year in Oakland. That's when they were the Oakland Raiders. Didn't do much over there, like I said. Came to us, didn't do much first year. Second year got converted over to running back, fullback. So, but his numbers this year were nothing, man. 1 rush for no yards. You know what I mean? And I remember the 1 rush. It was on a 4th and 1. On a 4th and 1, he got literally stuffed. It was his first career carry, and it was pretty much his last of the year. Got stuffed, didn't go anywhere. He ended up catching 2 balls for 8 yards on 3 targets through the year. But this was a guy that, like I said, man, he was a converted linebacker over to fullback. So he was out there blocking. He played special teams. He was pretty decent at special teams. It was okay. He made a few tackles down the stretch. Not a guy that you're gonna want on your team, because the fullback position in itself, is kind of a dying breed. It's really a dying breed. There's not too many of them left in the NFL. It doesn't seem like. There's a few teams you might see out there that carry them, but they don't really utilize them. So, but he was a guy that came in. It's hard to put a grade on him. Peterson seemed to run better with him in there. So he was a decent blocker at times. Like I said, he didn't really add anything to the team. He did play some decent special teams, but it was just tough to put a grade on him. I'm going to give him a D grade though. I'm not going to give him a passing grade. It doesn't make any sense to give him a passing grade. And it's not that he's a bad football player, because I kind of feel for the guy. He literally had to convert over to another position, right? So the guy played probably linebacker for the last. At Penn State, he was a linebacker for 4 years. He probably played a little bit of running back, fullback in high school, but in the pros, he played a couple of years as a linebacker, and then he got converted over to running back, fullback. So I kind of feel for the guy a little bit in that way, but he's a guy. I'm not going to give him a passing grade. He's getting a D for me. He was an okay blocker, decent on special teams, but that's really about it, man. Now I'm going to go on to the next guy, Carrion Johnson, 23 years old. 5'11", 211 pounds, 2nd round pick out of Auburn, 2018 draft. This was a guy that came in. He was supposed to be the guy, riddled with injuries the first 2 years. I think he missed a total of 14, 15 games his first 2 years. But this year, he 52 carries for 181 yards and 2 touchdowns, 1 fumble, at a 3.5 yards per carry. Not that bad, not that great. His cuts got completely cut in half from the last couple of years. We know why, because Deandre Swift, Adrian Peterson are in the house. So he's a guy that had 19 catches as well, at 187 yards and a touchdown. So 26 targets. Yeah, 26 targets too as well. So he was a guy that had 100, 200, 280, he had 350 total yards, 360 total yards all together, and maybe a little bit more, and 3 touchdowns on the year. It's a guy that was supposed to be the guy, though. You know what I mean? Ended up getting hurt. That happened to him. Then they got the better talent coming in, like Deandre Swift and Adrian Peterson. He got demoted. And like I said, first 2 years riddled with injuries. So they got demoted to a blocking back, became the number 3 in 2020. Accumulated 360 yards, like I said, and 3 touchdowns. And then he played all 16 games finally for the Detroit Lions, but he barely saw the field. There was times where I never even saw him once out there hardly, you know what I mean? But this is a guy that never complained. Never complained once about being demoted, and that's very rare in today's NFL or in any professional sports world. You just don't hear about guys like that, thinking that, they come in, they're supposed to be the man, the new man on campus, man. And then, the young guy comes in, or the younger guy, he's still young, but the younger guy comes in and just takes over, and this guy becomes the number 3. And Kerryon became the number 3, but he never complained. He never went to the media. He never went through Twitter, so through social media, about complaining about Swift. He was always a team player. Thing is, he could be cut in 2021 for money. I think they might save about $1.5 million, $2 million, if they either trade him, release him, or like one of those lines. But he could be a cut. He could be a cat. He could be a cap casualty, as they call it. So who knows? But I'm going to give him a C grade. Not failing him, but I'm not passing him flying colors, because he did get demoted, but he turned into actually one of the better blocking backs in the NFL, which was surprising. And like I said, never complained. Just never complained about his job. 2021 is a mystery what they're going to do with him. The new regime will probably decide on that, so I'm not too sure. But he's going to get a C grade from me. I'm not going to give him a big flying color pass or nothing like that, but I'm not going to fail him either. Even though he did lose his job to Deandre Swift, but we all knew that was coming. And Adrian Peterson never helped out the situation either. He wasn't getting any carries. He wasn't stealing any carries from Adrian, so he gets a C grade from me. Now on to Adrian Peterson, guys. Adrian Peterson, 6'1", 220, 14-year vet, 35 years old. Now on an Oklahoma 7th overall pick in 2007. He had 156 carries for 604 yards and 7 touchdowns, 3.9 yards per carry, which I thought was pretty decent. I thought that was pretty good. I thought he was going to come in, maybe around, I don't remember what my prediction was on him, but 604 yards rushing. You know what? I can live with that, because we did draft Deandre Swift, and I thought Swift would have carried that load more, but he did well. Scored 7 too. So that was nice. A lot of them were short ones, so probably most of them, I think most of those were short touchdowns. He doesn't have that juice anymore, right? So, but he did have 12 receptions for 101 yards too as well. No touchdowns on 18 targets, so he caught 12 balls off 18 targets. 705 total yards on 7 touchdowns. Hey, man, I'll take that from a 35-year-old vet. You know what I mean? I have no really issue with it. The guy brought a lot of energy. He was a vet leader, emotional guy. He mentored Swift, even Kerryon. Probably even taught a few things to Jace Cabinda. But my personal feeling, when he came in, when he came here, it was all about the personal stats for him. I'm not saying that he's not a team guy. I'm not saying that at all, but he had opportunity. Rumor had he had opportunity to go to places like Kansas City and Chicago, who was supposed to be better. Well, they're in the playoffs, but they kind of squeaked in. But he turned down a few more teams in Detroit. Better teams, obviously, like KC for one. Like, he turned down those teams. I think even to Seattle might have even offered him a contract. But he just said no, because he was going to get more of an opportunity here. And it felt to me like it was more because he's going for a goal, man. His goal is to go is to reach Emmett Smith. I don't think he's ever going to get it because he's like, I just don't think he has the juice in him. He's still a really good football player, but he's going to have to play about 5-6 more years. Personally, I think at the rate he's going, you know what I mean. If he could somehow steal a job, and I just don't think he can at the time. Kudos to him, but I just don't think he can do it. But he has his personal stats, and everyone's got their personal goals. But you couldn't really ask anything more from a 35-year-old running back, guys. You really couldn't, man. He came in. He was very emotional. He was a sideline guy. You could see him getting fired up, yelling at players, yelling at coaches, yelling at referees. He did care, you know what I mean? Even though it was a little bit more of a, I'm not going to say a selfish act on his part, but he's trying to reach a goal, and that's fine. I'm going to give him a B-. I'm going to give him a B- because he did what he was supposed to do here. He mentored some guys, you know, especially Swift, especially Kerryon, but he taught him a few things about the game on how to keep healthy too, which is really good. And yeah, I'm going to give him a B-. It's not a bad grade. It's not a great grade. You guys got to remember too, this is a 30th ranked running attack we had. So we were really bad. We couldn't really run the football because we're kind of down by too much. You know, when you get, like what I said before in a few videos, when you're down by like 13, 14, 17 points and stuff like that, even 10 points, sometimes it's harder to rush the football. Sometimes that rushing attack game goes right out the window, man. And now you gotta chuck it. You know what I mean? So it's just, that's why I think a lot of it, because we have talent at running back. You can't say that Adrian Peterson is not talented. You can't say that Deandre Swift isn't talented. You can't say that Kerryon doesn't have a little bit. Even he's got a little bit of talent. He just needs to stay healthy. You know what I mean? Like, that's a really nice number 3 to have on your team is Carrion Johnson. You know what I mean? So, but with Peterson, like I said, you can't ask anything more for 35. B- grade for me, guys. Bottom line, that's it. Now on to the man, Deandre Swift, the Rook, the 2nd round pick out of Georgia, the Bulldog himself, 5'8", 212 pounds. At the time, I really liked this pick. I thought it was a great pick. I still think it's a great pick too. He had 114 carries for 521 yards, 8 touchdowns out of 4.6 yards per carry, which is excellent. That's excellent for the average, the YPC there, 4.6. That's what you want to hear. The yards, you know what I mean? He had a lot of carries taken away from him this year, a ton. He had 46 catches for 357 yards, 2 touchdowns on 57 targets. So Stafford was looking for him all year. Those targets will go up eventually too when he gets more playing time. You got to remember too, he missed 3 games. I think all 3 were because of the concussion, but he was hurt, so he did miss 3 games, and he had 878 total yards and 10 touchdowns total. So he got in the end zone. He lived in the end zone this year. He had a really good year. Missed 3 games. Easily would have eclipsed 1,000 plus total. Easily would have eclipsed that if he would have played 3 more games. It's just that it took Bevel and Patricia 4 to 5 weeks to figure out that this kid was their starting running back. It took him that long. And I'm not saying that it's completely their fault. It is kind of. It's mostly on them because you have to realize how good of a football player this guy is. Even Adrian Peterson came out. When finally the Detroit Lions came out and said, hey, Bevel came out and said, hey, man, Deandre Swift is our guy. He's the starter. Took 5-6 weeks for it, 4 or 5, 6 weeks, whatever it took to happen. Adrian Peterson even came out on Twitter and was like, it's about time. Like, I knew this weeks ago. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when a Hall of Fame running back's putting your coaching staff on blast, it's time to take notice. It really is. Because it was a shot. It was a shot at Patricia and Bevel. It was, because why it took that long for that kid to get that many carries. Like, there was one game, I think the 3rd week of the year, he didn't even, I think against Arizona? I want to say Arizona. He got no stats. 0. Like, I don't even think he even played. Like, I didn't even see him out there. Ever since he dropped that football in week 1, it took Bevel. It's like Bevel held him, and it's like Bevel put him in timeout. It was weird, man, because his carries didn't get no carries. He finally started against Jacksonville, went off against Jacksonville, and then kind of slowed up again, you know, had a couple other big games. slowed up, caught some balls. But it took this coaching staff way too long. It took this coaching staff way too long to figure out that this kid is good. Now, to me, he reminds me of an Alvin Kamara. Now, I'm not saying he's Alvin Kamara, okay? But he reminds me. I even said this back in the day when he was drafted. Even before he was drafted, I said this. He just reminds me of Alvin Kamara. He's smooth, he's slick, he runs nice routes for a running back. He's got exceptional hands, even though he did drop a couple this year. He's got really good hands. He's got moves. Everything. He's just a good football player. He just needs a little bit of help, and that's all. And that's all right. I think he's going to help out this offense big time, and eventually become a star in this league. Not just saying that because I'm a Lions fan. I just think he's a really good running back and a really good football player. He's going to help out our offense. Build up our O-line a little bit more, and I think he's going to be a star. Fix that right side. I will get that down. We'll get that later. We'll get to that later, but as of right now, I think he's going to be one of the best in the league for a bit. He'll be a top 10 running back in the next couple of years. That's my opinion on him. I love him that much. I think he's that good of a running back. But I'm going to give him for the year. I'm going to give him a B. He missed a few games. Concussed. He needs to stay healthy. He needs to get more involved, and that's on coaching too. But that's a little bit on him too as well. But it took that coaching staff way too long to figure out that he was the guy. It took him way too long. They should have known that he was the starter. He should have been starting week 2, week 3. He should have been, but it took like 4 or 5 weeks. So I just don't understand that. I'm not saying that's the reason why we lost football games was because Deandre Swift wasn't a starter, because that's not the way it really goes, because he's just not there yet. But he should have been starting more games, and he easily would have been over 1,000 yards. But I'm giving him a solid B. Almost gave him a B+, but he's getting a B from me. But that's it, guys. Those are the running backs. I did 4 of them. Those only 4 I really cared about this year. There was Jonathan Williams, but I'm not putting a grade on him. There's just no point. He didn't get enough time. He got in 1 game, maybe 2 games, and there's just no point talking about him. No disrespect to Jonathan Williams. It's just not worth it. But that's the video, guys. Thanks a lot, man. I'll probably be doing wide receivers next. I'll be doing that either tomorrow or next day. There's a lot of playoff football coming on, though, so your boy's going to be busy watching football and drinking beers. So I'd like to thank everybody for the video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the bottom right. Like and comment. It's all about the likes and the comments, man. That's why I like to do this channel. I like to talk with the guys. And don't forget to hit the notification bell and get all my videos. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Go Lions. Boom.